What if I told you about a place that's so incredible that it's home to the only 400 individuals of the rarest bear in the world, the spirit bear? But the magic doesn't end there. This place is also home to sea wolves, an amazing species of wolf that swims between islands and feeds on seafood. This place is a shining example of where the land meets the sea, as the 2,500 salmon streams serve as the lifeblood bridging the gap between aquatic and terrestrial life. This is the Great Bear Rainforest, part of the world's largest temperate rainforest, located in British Columbia, Canada. In this video, we're going to talk about what makes the Great Bear Rainforest such an important place, not just ecologically, but also culturally and spiritually for the First Nations communities who have lived on and stewarded the lands and waters for thousands of years. But this is just part one of the story. Today we're going to learn about the rainforest and its inhabitants, and next week we'll explore the unparalleled and unique conservation activities that make this such a huge success story. Let's get right into it. So the Great Bear Rainforest is a vast temperate rainforest located on the Pacific coast of British Columbia, Canada. It is part of the larger Pacific temperate rainforest ecoregion, which is the largest coastal temperate rainforest in the world.
On the wild northwest coast of British Columbia, Canada, there is a tangled mass of glaciated fjords, towering snow-capped peaks, and remote wilderness islands called the Great Bear Rainforest. This lush rainforest area covers 74,000 square kilometers, starting from the Alaska-British Columbia border and continuing 400 kilometers south along the BC coast.
The Great Bear Rainforest extends from the Discovery Islands in the south to the BC-Alaska boundary in the north, covering an area of 6.4 million hectares, or 15.8 million acres. The region is characterized by its lush, old-growth forests, rugged coastline, and diverse array of plant and animal species.
The marine and the land and everything in between, it's all so connected. You have to look at it as one area. The Great Bear Rainforest is a special place, and that's why we're working so hard to protect it.
So the Great Bear Rainforest has been home to numerous First Nations communities for millennia. These coastal First Nations have developed rich cultures and traditions that are deeply intertwined with the land, waters, and creatures of the rainforest.
We have the responsibility of retaining and protecting the ecological integrity of the territory.
As long as we keep those laws upheld, our way of life will never cease.
The region contains ancient settlements, burial sites, and cultural landmarks that showcase the deep history and heritage of these Indigenous peoples. For these communities, the rainforest is not just an ecological wonder, but also a place of profound spiritual significance, where their ancestors have lived, thrived, and passed down knowledge for generations.
If there's one thing that I can make sure that my children pass on to the next generations is our way of life. The values that my grandmother's teaching me and the values that her grandmother taught her.
It's important to take Western science and weave it together with what we have, because what it's doing is reaffirming ancient stories and history.
Historically, First Nations carefully managed the abundant natural resources of both the land and sea, relying on their knowledge of seasonal cycles to harvest a wide variety of resources without depleting them. The rainforest and its inhabitants are an integral part of their cultural identity, and the protection of this sacred landscape is of utmost importance to these communities.
The Canadian identity doesn't exist in an authentic way if there aren't places where there are big trees and grizzly bears and vibrant First Nations cultures, and then there's no one better than us to preserve it, because this is where we're from, this is who we are.
So the Great Bear Rainforest is an ecological treasure and a global biodiversity hotspot. It is home to an astounding variety of species, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The rainforest features ancient trees, such as 1,000-year-old western red cedars and 90-meter-tall Sitka spruce, which tower over a diverse understory of mosses, ferns, and shrubs.
This vast unspoiled temperate forest is not just a sanctuary for flora, but a haven for an extraordinary array of wildlife, both on land and at sea. In this captivating corner of the world, you'll find a variety of bears and wolves, impressive whales, graceful deer, cougars, sea lions, playful otters, and so much more. It's a wildlife hotspot for nature lovers and adventurers alike.
This complex ecosystem supports iconic species like grizzly bears, black bears, wolves, and the elusive white Kermode bear, also known as the spirit bear. The Great Bear Rainforest plays a vital role in mitigating climate change as well, storing an estimated 1.8 billion tons of carbon in its ancient trees and rich soils, more than any other temperate rainforest in the world. And although we could spend hours talking about all the amazing biodiversity in the Great Bear Rainforest, in today's video, we're going to focus on 3 of the most iconic species that call this area home. And we're going to start by maybe the most iconic species of them all. But before we talk about this iconic species, I just want to let you all know that we're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. And it would mean a lot if all of you who are interested in watching these videos and are enjoying the content every single week could hit that subscribe button and like the video. Now let's get back to talking about these iconic species.
The Great Bear Rainforest is also home to one of the rarest creatures on Earth, a white black bear known scientifically as the Kermode bear, but known to the local Gitga'at First Nations as Moxkmal, and to others as the white bear, ghost bear, and most commonly, the spirit bear.
One of the most iconic and enchanting residents of the Great Bear Rainforest is the spirit bear, also known as the Kermode bear. This rare subspecies of the American black bear is found only in this region and is characterized by its unique white or cream colored looking coat. The striking coloration is caused by a recessive gene, and it's estimated that fewer than 400 spirit bears exist in the wild, making them one of the rarest bears in the whole world.
This stunning white variant of the black bear is found almost exclusively in the Great Bear Rainforest on a number of densely forested remote islands in the northern half of the region. It's white because of a unique recessive gene similar to the redhead gene in humans that makes approximately 1 in 10 bears on these isolated islands completely white instead of black.
The spirit bear holds great cultural significance for the First Nations communities in the area, who view these bears as sacred animals and powerful symbols of the rainforest's magic and resilience. According to the oral traditions of some First Nations communities, the spirit bear was created by Raven, the creator of the world, to remind people of the last ice age when the world was covered in ice and snow. The white bears are seen as guardians of the rainforest and are deeply respected by the indigenous communities.
Species of animals that we share this territory with is pretty amazing, and the Moxkmal is one of the special animals. It's a black bear with a recessive gene that can turn a bear white. Yeah, we're at one of the rivers today that has a few of these sacred bears.
But in addition to their cultural importance, spirit bears also play a unique role in the ecosystem. Research has shown that spirit bears have a higher success rate in catching salmon during the day compared to their black-coated counterparts. The white fur of the bear is harder to spot underwater by fish, giving them an advantage in salmon hunting. This adaptation demonstrates the intricate connections between species in the Great Bear Rainforest and the importance of preserving genetic diversity within these populations.
There's a theory that spirit bears are excellent fishers because their light color blends in with the sky, making them less visible to the fish below them than a regular black bear would be. Studies have shown that fish are twice as likely to avoid regular black bears than spirit bears. Over time, that means spirit bears capture over 30% more fish.
Next, let's talk about one of the most unique wolf populations in the world. The Great Bear Rainforest is home to a genetically distinct population of wolves known as coastal wolves or sea wolves. These fascinating predators have adapted to the unique challenges and opportunities of living in this coastal environment.
Coastal wolves are found in the remote temperate rainforests of British Columbia. They are highly intelligent and social animals, adapting to their geographical location, living between the forest and the sea, with a distinct set of evolutionary behaviors unique only to them.
Coastal wolves are known for their exceptional swimming abilities, often traveling between islands to search for food. They have a diverse diet that includes marine resources such as salmon, seals, and even shellfish, which they skillfully dig up from the shore.
Coastal wolves are beachcombers, with seafood making the vast majority of their diet, differentiating them from inland wolves. They forage through the kelp and the seaweed, consuming barnacles, mussels, limpets, chitons, dead marine mammals, and salmon, anything they can scavenge. It's a tough existence in a hostile, albeit beautiful environment.
And coastal wolves play a crucial role in maintaining the ecological balance of the rainforest. As top predators, they help regulate the populations of deer and other herbivores, preventing overgrazing and allowing the forest understory to thrive. Their presence also influences the behavior and distribution of other species, such as bears and eagles, creating a complex web of interactions that sustains the biodiversity of the Great Bear Rainforest.
Early in the morning, especially one female, we see her coming out and digging into a huge lump of kelp with all the steam coming off, and then she rolls around in it. It's like she's taking a warm bath, and she seems to be doing this very regularly. It's a wonderful thing to watch.
Finally, we're going to talk about a species that has a surprisingly large impact on the entire Great Bear Rainforest. So the annual salmon runs in the Great Bear Rainforest are a cornerstone of the ecosystem, supporting a wide array of species and shaping the landscape itself. The rainforest is home to over 2,500 salmon streams, where 5 species of Pacific salmon return to spawn after spending years in the open ocean.
The lifeblood of the area is the wild salmon that invade the rivers and creeks of the Great Bear Rainforest each fall to spawn. The salmon are integral to the survival of an incredible array of wildlife that call the rainforest ecosystem home.
For the First Nations communities of the Great Bear Rainforest, salmon are not only a vital food source, but also a cultural keystone species. The annual salmon runs have sustained these communities for millennia, and the fish are deeply integrated into their traditions, ceremonies, and ways of life.
Without salmon, we don't have a culture. Without the language, we don't have the culture. So those things we really need to pay attention to.
The ecological importance of salmon extends far beyond the streams where they spawn. As the salmon migrate upstream, they are preyed upon by bears, wolves, eagles, and other animals, which transfer the nutrients from the ocean to the forest floor. The carcasses of the spawned out salmon provide a vital source of nitrogen and other nutrients to the forest, fertilizing the soil and supporting the growth of trees and other vegetation. This process, known as salmon-derived nutrients, is a critical component of the rainforest productivity and biodiversity. And this just highlights the importance of the terrestrial and aquatic relationship that exists in the Great Bear Rainforest. The Great Bear Rainforest is a place where nature and culture intertwine, creating a landscape of unparalleled beauty and significance. From the rare and enchanting spirit bear to the genetically distinct coastal wolves and the life-sustaining salmon runs, this temperate rainforest is a testament to the resilience and interconnectedness of life. So while in this video we looked at some of the amazing biodiversity of the Great Bear Rainforest, in our next video we will explore some of the groundbreaking conservation efforts in this important region, highlighting the collaborative work of First Nations governments, environmental organizations, and industry partners to safeguard this global treasure for generations to come.
Earlier this year, a landmark agreement was reached between the BC government, First Nations, environmentalists, and forest companies to protect a huge portion of the Great Bear Rainforest. But the agreement is not all-encompassing protection. While it saves 85% of the Great Bear Rainforest from industrial logging, It does not save the great bears from trophy hunting.
We're going to delve into the challenges and successes of this conservation story and the lessons it holds for other ecosystems around the world. Until then, if you want to learn about any of the species we discussed today, check the links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.